My name is Arlene, and I will be presenting on decomposing variance from mini-batch order and parameter initialization. I worked on this with Ben Adlam, Lichao Xiao, and Jeffrey Pennington. In statistical learning theory, it is observed that there is a trade-off between bias and variance. The bias-variance trade-off describes the property that as model complexity increases, bias is decreased and variance is increased. Over the years, modern machine learning models have become more complex and tend to display behavior that is not consistent with this property. In modern ML, there are often many more parameters than data points. Empirical results show that overparameterizing neural networks tends to actually decrease model generalization error. As we can see in this graph plotting error versus number of model parameters, the traditional U-shaped curve describing the bias-variance trade-off can be observed when parameters are below a certain threshold. Past this threshold, which is known as the interpolation threshold, in which training data can be fit exactly, we can see that model error continues to decrease as parameter count increases. This is known as double descent, and it motivates us to better understand the behavior of model error in modern ML algorithms. Our question is, can we better understand these sources of model error by isolating the individual contributions to variance? Although simple models such as linear regression are only impacted by randomization in data sampling, deep learning models have many additional sources of randomness. For example, neural networks are sensitive to variation in data sampling, mini-batch order, data augmentation, and parameter initialization. This is apparent from the existence of deep ensembles and bagging techniques. Deep ensembles, in which models are trained on the same data but with different parameter initializations, have been successful in improving model performance. We can think of deep ensembles as marginalizing over randomness in parameter initialization. On the other hand, bagging involves models trained on different subsets of data, which can be thought of as marginalizing over randomness in data sampling. Bagging has not found success so far in deep learning literature. From our work, we focus specifically on two questions. First, how sensitive is the predictive function to data randomness, and how much does it contribute to variance when compared to parameter initialization? Next, how much does variance stem from the interaction between data and parameter randomness rather than each factor individually? We carefully control the random number generation used in training. What this means is we tightly control the random seeds used for data randomness and the seeds used for parameter initialization, and estimate corresponding variance terms for convolutional neural networks used in practice. Within data randomness, we train all available training data for each run, but modify data order and data augmentation. We couple training runs by setting data seeds to fixed values while changing model seeds, then setting model seeds to fixed values while changing data seeds. This allows for a principled decomposition of variance with clear credit assignment, a method discussed in detail by Adlam and Pennington. The diagrams and equations specify this in detail. VD denotes data variance, VP denotes model parameter variance, and VDP denotes variance from the interaction between data and parameters. As a sanity check, we implemented a simple multi-layer perceptron with no data augmentation. From this, we can see that data variance and interaction variance approach zero as batch size approaches full batch, which is expected and demonstrates that all sources of data randomness are being controlled. We then examine results from our experiment training CFAR10 on a ResNet 50. The specified data seeds determine both data order and random left-right flips of the training data. We noticed that the additional sources contribute a significant amount of variance. In addition, the interaction term VDP dominates individual terms by an order of magnitude. These observations offer insight into potential directions to explore, as understanding the sources of variance allows us to marginalize over quantities in a more informed way. For example, we may analyze and compare the individual behavior of various data augmentations. In addition, we may perform a fine-grained decomposition of variance within the model, analyzing the contributions of individual layers or neurons.